What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. I want to talk to you today about accountability. This is something that I think we do a lot as financial coaches. Is one, I have often found myself kind of playing the role of an accountability partner, especially after longer term engagements with clients, where we've kind of solved problems, we've brainstormed ideas, we've kind of worked on longer term goals. And then after several years, it's less about trying to kind of adjust things or kind of tackle the next big thing. It kind of is more about a rhythm, about staying on pace with things, right? So if you come into me and you say, hey, I want to start a savings account, we'll get that set up. And then you might say, hey, I want to save $5,000. All right, we'll focus on that. But then after a few years, it might just be like, hey, I want to keep increasing my savings, right? It might be smaller things. And so it's more about, hey, Pete, can you be an accountability partner for me so that next year I increase my savings by 5%, then another 5%, and those types of things. And so I found myself often in kind of a cruise control accountability partner role for a lot of clients. And one of the things that I've kind of struggled with over the years is saying, well, you know, yes, I can play an accountability partner. It's not necessarily super hard for me. And to be really honest, the rates that I charge to play that particular role might be pretty expensive. So I want to say here that people don't need a financial coach to be an accountability partner, but maybe they do. So basically, what I want to say about this is I'm going to give you kind of two sides of this coin, and I'm going to say either one of them works. All right. So, first of all, I have thought a lot about helping clients by finding them an accountability partner that's going to be a lot cheaper than using a financial coach once a month, maybe even just once a year, maybe ad hoc, right? At $150 an hour, it's probably not the cheapest way to do it. Now, I would say you could have a friend do this. And my issue with this is that will the friend do it, or will the friend not want to jeopardize their friend relationship and just be more supportive, just be a cheerleader and say, oh, well, you didn't increase your savings by 5%. That's good. 3% is good enough. Good job. I wish I were doing that. The other issue there is too, do friends get jealous of what you're doing, or maybe they're not doing it, or maybe they're struggling with that. And so to cheer you on about doing something like that, is hurting them, and so they don't want to do it, right? If they're not saving at all, and you're saying, hey, my goal is to start saving more, right? That can feel like a wide gap. It might actually even, I don't know, potentially hurt the friendship. It might help, right? Maybe they're inspired by it. Maybe they duplicate what you're doing. Maybe they're asking you for mentorship. So that's totally possible. But what I have seen with friend accountability partners is that they can work, but usually the friend takes a less passive, less pushy role with it. Oftentimes, the conversations and the connection times, that are supposed to be for revisiting what's going on and what you've done, turn into just friendly conversation, hanging out. And so, yeah, friends can be accountability partners. I've seen some great ones where they really do, and they say, hey, listen, let's talk Saturday. How'd you do it? And, it doesn't have to be money. Maybe friends are just helping each other become better golfers. I've done this with my friends. Said, hey, I want to get out to the driving range once a week, and I'll say, hey, did you get out there? Did you get out there and practice a swing? And did you try some of these things? Here's some ideas that might help you, right? So that's one thing that might help. It might be a lot cheaper using a friend, but there are some drawbacks to that, right? And one of the things that I was thinking about here is that I might also be able to use some technology, right? Set up some tasks and some reminders, those types of things. Maybe set up an email system. There are a lot of ways, from reminders on things like your iPhone. You can have it set a reminder for a specific date and time. You can put it in your calendaring system. You can put it in your task management system, right? These types of things might be good accountability partners or an accountability system, because it might remind you. It might say, hey, this is the deadline for it. But what that requires is a lot of self-management, self-motivation, the ability to stick with it when you see a digital reminder coming up. And then one of the last things that I want to say here is that if I'm going to be the accountability partner, and where I struggle with is that, what I want to do is provide you a lot of value. I want to provide you some great ideas, some financial knowledge, some insights, those types of things for our time together. But if it's really just the fact that we have a phone call scheduled on the calendar and that keeps you to your schedule, well, that might be worth it. And I'll be honest, where I've struggled in the past saying, hey, is it worth my time? I mean, is it worth my effort and my education and knowledge and their time and money, to spend 15 minutes on the phone with me, 15, 20 minutes for $150 just to say, hey, did you stick to this? Did you get this done? Did you set up that account? Did you hit the savings goal? Whatever it might be. I think it can be worth it because, to be really honest, that's the focus. That's what you're paying me for. I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to ask you poignantly about your progress on that. We're going to come up with some ideas if you haven't. But oftentimes, having that appointment on the calendar, I will hear from people is that, oh man, it's funny. I gave myself 3 months to do it, and I did it just last week because I saw that we had our phone call coming up, and I didn't want to let you down, whatever it might be. And to be really honest, it may be worth $150 to make sure that they do it. Right. Where I thought, is that a really good value for them? Maybe it's worth $300. Maybe they need to put some pressure on themselves. I've seen accountability tactics where people will write a check to something that they really don't want to support, and they will say, hey, hold on this check. And if I don't get this done by then, you can send in this check to wherever, right? Make a donation to a group that they don't like, or to a frenemy of theirs or something like that to buy something nice. So you can certainly do that. And, there are a lot of ways to kind of keep yourself accountable. But, should the coach be the accountability partner? I don't know that that's necessarily the primary thing we should be doing, but I have certainly no problems doing it. And where I've struggled in the past with, is it worth it to the client for us to be their accountability partner? I would say it absolutely can be. It absolutely can be. And if their goal is really to increase their savings rate, increase their retirement savings, invest their money or whatever, whatever they want to do, $150 can be a very small price to pay to make sure that they're doing some of these things. Some of these things could lead to hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars over the long run. So I think it certainly could be worth it. So do they need a financial coach for accountability partner? Absolutely not. But can you be the accountability partner and just the accountability partner and be worth it? You certainly can. Hopefully that helps. See you later.